Hey mates, and welcome to Blindformers. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and today we're trying out a new camera angle. So let me know in the comments below how this looks, because some people have been telling me I've been cutting things off on the edges and stuff, so I decided to flip the phone around and try a different way. So please let me know, does this way work? Am I centered? How off-center am I? Just tell me, left a little bit, right a little bit. I'll get it right. It will just take some time and effort and a little help from you, my viewers. Not my listeners, sorry. I know I have some blind people that watch my channel or listen to it, but this time I'm talking to the sighted people. Let me know if the camera is straight or not. I would really appreciate that from you, because I'm trying to make sure this looks better, because I know that, people on YouTube tend to watch more videos that look good, and I'm trying to make sure my videos look good for them. Even though I'm blind, and it's almost an impossible task for me. But I could do it with your help. So please, you get 2 thumbs up from me for helping. I really appreciate all of you out there. So let's get into today's video, which is about Transformers, Age of the Primes, Alchemist Prime, and I'm going to be teaching you how to transform him into his vehicle mode, which is a cute little truck mode. And I also have an individual who has the Ironhide Seige mold here. Target guy. I'm drawing a blank on his name. You know me and names. For some reason, I just sometimes space on them. And so we've got him. We're going to be talking about him today, and we're going to be comparing his transformation to Alchemist Prime's transformation, because there's a lot similar here. But first, I'll walk you through Alchemist Prime's transformation, and afterwards, we're going to talk about the transformation comparison between these two, because it is very similar. So, without further ado, please hit the like button, share, subscribe. Those do a lot of good things to help, and of course, leave a comment below. I really like hearing from you, my listeners. Now, let's get into it today. Get myself comfy in my seat. And first off and foremost, go ahead and take off his 2 weapons, which one of my commenters was intrigued to figure out like how all these things are going to fit together, and I am on the same wavelength. I'm like, how in the world are all these pieces of things supposed to fit together, and how are these things supposed to be glasses? Like, I don't get how they connect to him. I haven't figured that out. But there's those 2 things, and now let's get into the transformation. First and foremost, before we really get into it, I do want to mention something. So I fixed his hands. Pardon me. So I couldn't fold his hands in before, and they kept popping out here. I would fold them down, and then they would pop out to be 45-degree angles. Instead of being at a 90, they would just pop out and be at 45, and then it was annoying. I was very annoyed by it. So what I did is I yanked off the hand, and then by yanking off the hand, I put my thumb and forefinger around it, and I just kind of pulled and twisted at the same time to pop it out of place. And then I took a piece of sandpaper to the inside area of this, and I wore away at this edge that's there, because that's just a little too much plastic. So I sandpapered it away, I rounded out that edge, and it works a lot better. Is it perfect? No, but you know what? It's a good quality control fix. And is a big negative on him was these hands. They did upset me. I was not satisfied with the fact that those hands don't seem to want to stay in their positions. So just like Grapple with Earthrise, you're going to have to take it apart a little bit and sand some stuff down. To all of you people out there who have come into Transformers in the last few years, Grapple was an Earthrise Transformer that famously had little spokes on the back that were too long. And what they would do is they'd create a suction inside of the Seige ports they went into, and then it was impossible to remove the feet. It was a locked-in joint. So what you had to do was sandpaper them a little bit, and then what I did particularly was I sandpapered one side a lot so that there was a little like escape route for air to get in there, and that allowed for me to transform him easily, and it still holds on very tightly. It's just that little edge of the circle is missing, and turned it more into a C. All right, now let's get into this guy. So we've removed his weapons, and first thing you want to do is put the head away. So we're going to come over here to his chest, and right, we can't put his head away until we pull. So take his arms and pull each side, and they're just gonna kind of sit on their own little hinges that are below. And now that those are pulled out, we can then move his chest down. It doesn't open that far. It doesn't open as far as some other Transformers chests have, but it opens far enough to allow his head to rotate in there. Now, getting his head out is a bit of a problem, and I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. You got to get in here with your fingertip and just kind of edge at the back of his neck a bit with your fingertip until you pop the head up enough. It'll pop up to be about 90, and then you can reach in there with your thumb and forefinger and go ahead and pull that head up, and then close that chest panel down. Also, something I forgot to mention in yesterday's video, he's wearing a collared shirt, and it wasn't until I was really getting into this transformation and studying it a little extra that I realized it's a folded over collared shirt. Yeah, he's wearing a collared shirt. I haven't found a collared shirt in Transformers before, so this is really fun. And I did not know he had one. So that was just something I wanted to point out. This guy's wearing a shirt that's got a collar on it. And I mean, like, it's a folded over collar. You could take your fingertip or your fingernail and actually get under the edge of that collar and feel where it's folded over. That's the attention to detail I really do appreciate from Transformers these days. That's why I like them since Siege. I don't really like anything before Siege. It's just the detailing is so much better. Okay, so next step is, after I finish blathering on about that, we want to then rotate his waist 180 degrees. To get his feet in the right his legs in the right position, then come over here to his legs, and we're going to reach into the inside of the leg where, each leg kind of touches, and we're going to grab this little edge of the panel, and we're going to pull this panel open all the way. It's going to go all the way out and lock it into place at 45 degrees. We're going to take this other panel, and it's going to lock into place, just kind of hanging out. Next step is fold the feet into that negative zone. One of these feet already tried to do it. They do like going in there. And that's something I appreciate about this transformation, is that some of these aspects of this transformation just enjoy connecting together. Now, this is the part of the transformation that is a bit annoying. So first step, you want to go ahead and fold each of the hands down. Grab each of the hands, make sure they're folded down. And then we're going to unfold the shoulder. So we unclipped it earlier, but this time we're going to kind of unfold it a bit. But before we do, we've got to come over here closer to the shoulder. Now grab this panel that is connected to the hinge lower, that the panel that locks the shoulder to the side of the robot. Grab that panel in one hand and grab the shoulder itself in the other with the siege port. Then you're going to go and pull that shoulder backwards. Okay, so you want to pull that shoulder to his back. And that's going to create this 90-degree angle area. It's the little cavity that gets created. And that's going to be necessary for the next part of the transformation. Let's come over here to the other side, grab the panel in one hand, grab the shoulder in the other, and we're going to then pull the shoulder up and out. There it goes. Excellent. Next step is going to be pretty easy. Rotate the shoulder 180 degrees so that it is now facing backwards. We're going to do the same with the other side. We're going to rotate that shoulder. Now, this is a spot that I should mention to you. There's a little lip that will make it difficult to rotate this shoulder. So you're going to have to push the shoulder joint back down just a little. Nuts. That sometimes happens. And you're going to rotate the shoulder all the way. And, with their love of pins that they keep doing, it is kind of annoying that there's some areas that they just can't seem to figure out. And this side panel is definitely one of those. Like, you could have just pinned this one and given us more stuff. Let's see, get this piece back together. So this guy's definitely the first. Well, no, Solus Prime did a lot of falling apart too, I guess. Okay, so now we've got to put that piece. Wait, did I just put this thing in backwards? I just put this piece in backwards. Okay, rotate that around. Let's put the piece. Clip it back into place the correct way. There we go. There we go. All right. Now that we've gotten it connected back together, which these will fall off a lot, but they are very easy to connect back, like with Solus Prime. Now, this is the part of the transformation that is annoying. You want to move the legs down at their knees, okay? This will take away this big old canopy thing we unfolded and allow you a little more freedom up here. Now, it won't work too well because when the thighs are folded down like that, these side panels can't connect properly. But what you're trying to do right now is thread these arms into the area that these little, these big pieces that we unfolded from the legs are going to cover the arms. And that's why I'm comparing him to Seige Ironhide, and we're going to talk about that soon. So, once you've got these arm pieces actually on the inset of these little canopy pieces on the back of the legs, or on the legs, we're going to bring those pieces up, and now we're going to play Squeeze the Transformer. And this is probably one of the more complicated parts. So you just want to push down on either side of those panels that have the arms connected to them, and that will allow the arms to kind of flow together once the thighs are straightened out. Because that won't work unless the thighs are straightened out, because the thighs are important for this part. Now, getting these two arms to connect together without making the legs move away is the most problematic part. I don't like this part of the transformation, and the connection points aren't really that great either, but you can get them in there, and you just got to rotate it around a little bit. They use some of the smallest connection pins for this part, and I don't like that. I wish we had gotten something better for that connection port there. But once you get these arms connected, they're never going to stay connected too well. That connection point is not sturdy enough to really get it good. Now that you've got those two arms connected as well as it can be, we're then going to collapse the canopy of the truck around them. Okay, get this canopy piece, fold it down. Come on. There it goes. Okay, it locked into place a little too heavy. The other side locked into place a little too heavy. There we go. Now they're both unlocked, and the arms have officially unsplit each other, but we're just going to have to deal. And we're going to then connect that lower joints on the legs and the upper area. And yeah, there we go. We got it. Okay, now we're going to make sure the shoulder joints are connected. And finally, we're going to come over here to his backpack, and we're going to pick up this back shield, his windshield that's folded up on his backpack. So it's going to go up. It's a ratcheted joint, so it's a little tough. And then the windshield's going to fold around, so it's going to go from facing the ceiling to facing in front of him. And then finally it's going to fold into place and lock down. And that is how you get your deluxe class Alchemist Prime transformed. He is not the simplest transformer, but he is simple. But what it comes to is it's this connecting 3 layers of connections like a little sandwich back here, where you have the 2 lower legs that connect, then you have the arms that connect, then you have this upper panel area for the back of the truck that all connects together, and you've got to get those 3 connections done right without interfering with the middle connection, but that middle connection always unconnects itself. Like, yeah, I can feel that they definitely unconnected a little bit in there. And, but then you get this little weird truck thing with some big old vents on the sides, and I really like the big vents. I will give this transformation a C+. I wish it was a better transformation, but it's getting a C+. That is a difficult transformation to acquire. You're going to have to really fold things down and get them in, and I don't like it. I don't like that last bit of the transformation at all. So I told you earlier, when we started this, I was going to explain how it connects to this guy here, and we're going to show you how the transformation, in my opinion, works better with our buddy here, who's just all sorts of floppy. Look how floppy this guy is. That's wild. He hasn't even... I keep him in robot. I mean, I keep him in vehicle mode all the time, so I'm surprised he's gotten this floppy. It isn't like I'm using these joints much, but jeez. Jeez, that's some floppiness. I was not expecting him to be this floppy when I picked him up today. So let's go ahead and transform him real quick, and I'll show you, I'll compare how the steps are similar. We've already discussed this transformer, how to transform him on one of the earliest episodes of Blindformers out there. But so here's where he's similar. You see, we got to pick up these arms, and we got to move them around to connect them together. And they connect together while he's kind of in robot mode. But these arm connections are really thick. So when you get these arms connected for the Seige Ironhide mold, they're pretty much connected. Now, we got to then rotate. Oh, crap. That piece wasn't supposed to fall off. Okay, you know what? That piece isn't... Oh my god, now it doesn't want to leave? What did I do? Hey, get off that. Okay, we're just going to leave him off to the side there, because we don't need that piece to explain the part of his transformation that I'm trying to get to. We just need to get to that part of the transformation. If you would just move somehow. Okay, maybe I screwed something up. There it goes. Okay, yeah, I gotta spin you around. So this is a part that I wish they had, where the arms spin at this joint that's there. Like, this guy could have really used more from this Ironhide mold, but he didn't. They seem to get the similar concept of the arms folding backwards. Of course, the windshield there, and then here's the back. Here's the back of the leg thing, where we pull up these two panels from the legs like we just did for Alchemist Prime, but in the Seige version, the feet don't fold into a negative zone. You know, the feet don't fold in a way, and why'd you drive away? Stay there. So, that's something. There we go. That's the part that gets me, is like, this guy is so wiggly that you can actually just kind of thread those two arms in there. See, we got the two arms under the panels, and then we can connect the top panels and the lower panels together. Fold those two pieces forwards, and they're just going to connect together. And this works out a lot better because the connection points are a bit thicker. So they're a bit sturdier, and they're easier to get into and combine together. And it's not something that you can do too easily with Alchemist Prime. And that's kind of a shame, because I do wish the Alchemist Prime had a much more intuitive, well, not intuitive, an easier transformation. Well, there it goes. So, minus the bumper, because I'll just add that later. But anyway, I just wanted to mention like how much easier it is to transform Seige Ironhide mold than it is the Alchemist Prime mold, and it's not from, you know, ease of access, or I guess ease of access is the right way to say it. It is. It's the ease of access on getting these parts connected together for Seige Ironhide. And these parts, the same exact kind of motions are needed for Alchemist Prime, but there's a couple of differences, and it's just a bit harder because these arms refuse to stay together, and these panels on the back there's not enough movement given to us on these back legs to really make it an easy process. Seige Ironhide is a much easier transformer to transform than Alchemist Prime, and it comes down strictly to the fact that Alchemist Prime has this weird sandwich thing going on in the back that is very difficult to really get together, especially since these two arms, their connection points are very small and not very tight. So they pop out of place all the time, and that can make it a bit more difficult. That's why I'm giving it a C+, because Seige Ironhide, you know, if I were grading it nowadays, I'd give Seige Ironhide a B+ for transformation. Like, yeah, the feet annoy me, but I like what Alchemist Prime did with the feet, where he folded the feet into the back of the legs. And that was the only thing I ever wanted from Seige Ironhide, was the ability to fold the feet into the back of the legs. I always thought that would be the perfect place to keep the feet and keep them safe and secure, and also have less robot kibble. So you know, then again, we do lose out on the ability to just stand him up on his tail for easy storage in a box. You know, that's kind of a nice thing about Seige Ironhide. But I've blathered on long enough about this. This guy is he's a fun transformer, but he's definitely, when I compare him to the other transformations we've gotten so far, I prefer Solus Prime's transformation over his, and I prefer Star Convoy's transformation over his. The Primus transformation and his transformation are both wonky, and Megatronus is just a mess, in my opinion. There we go. There's his things on top of his truck mode. There's his truck mode all put together. I think he is a fun Transformer. His robot mode is definitely a great inclusion into the 13 Primes. I just wish his transformation was as good as the other Primes. You know, he is, so far, the least when it comes to transformations in the 13 Primes. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I've enjoyed making it. I've enjoyed talking to you about these guys and comparing a Transformer that I enjoy from the past to a Transformer that I kind of meh on and from the future. It's kind of neat. Blast from the past kind of day. Thank you again for watching. Please tune in next Prime, where I will be comparing Alchemist Prime's vehicle mode to the vehicle modes of the other Primes that we've received so far to kind of give you an idea of, you know, good and the bad and the ugly. Until next Prime, bye-bye for now.